Welcome to the Gonzo Chronicles. I'm your host, Cyrus Alderwood, the official spokesman for Generation X. Stick around. It's going to get weird, as always. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Gonzo Chronicles. I keep teasing that we're going to talk about these really kick-ass books by Darcy Coates, and we haven't gotten around to it, but we're getting to it today, by God, because Cherie is back, the most prolific reader of regular books and audible books I've ever met, the worldwide, right, Cherie? Like you have the world record on books covered. Is that right?
Um, it's possible. It
I saw it
is
on the internet.
entirely possible.
I saw it on the internet, so it has to be true.
Oh, it has to be true if you saw it on the internet.
Yeah, I mean they never lie. Internet, it's always truthful. Hey, listen, we're actually getting spy materials on the internet now that turns out to be true. Did you see about that in the news?
The what?
Spy materials, like top classified materials that some 21-year-old gamer leaked online.
Oh, I vaguely remember something about that.
Well, apparently the media has been lying to us because the CIA tells them to. And the Russians are actually beating the shit out of the Ukrainians in this war, even though we're told Ukraine is bound to win. And we've spent how many, like 100, well, probably about 400 billion probably over there. And it turns out,
And
oh, go ahead.
oh, isn't there something about English and American troops being over there?
Yes, after they've lied the whole time. They don't have the right to be there. If you're going to be there for more than 30 days, you have to have a congressional declaration of war.
Uh-huh.
Biden lied. Apparently, troops have been on the ground over there and they lied to us about it. So now,
Well,
if Congress has the balls, they'll have an immediate investigation, a vote on the War Powers Act, and demand either, like, if they're not voting for war, then those troops come home right now.
there you go.
And I would not send one more dime to Ukraine because apparently Zelensky has grifted about $400 million of our billions to himself.
The
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's all these people with the Ukraine flags on their social media profiles. Listen, I've been saying the entire time that once this started on this podcast that when it comes to Russia and Ukraine, you're talking about the two most corrupt money laundering places and human sex trafficking places on the planet. They're horrible.
Yeah.
Ukraine is the worst. So,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. The one thing that hit me is whenever they showed video or photos of people in Ukraine, it's almost like a drinking game. Count how many swastika tattoos you can see.
Yeah, there are real, like people, real life Nazi supporters. I don't mean just people with the swastika flag. They like Hitler. Like it's
Yeah,
not cool. It's not cool. So
hey,
yeah,
Hitler.
so we're being gaslit by our media and our government, and they've done something very bad. And this, I remember how everyone hated Trump because my God, he's going to get us in World War III, and he
Oh
kept
God,
us out
yeah.
of wars for 4 years. And this numbnuts in the White House is going to be the one to get us in like more trouble than we can handle.
Or whoever's puppeting him. I think the guy is like, I don't know. I think he has dementia or something.
Yeah, I think Obama is probably like our secret president we don't know about, and he was terrible first time. Uh, why else would he buy a house in D.C.?
Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
And if he cared that much about global warming, why did he buy a 100 million? I don't know how big of a mansion did him and his husband buy. or his wife buy. Excuse me, did I say that? How big of a mansion did they buy right on the coast? Really? Global warming?
That
No,
is
they're real
crazy.
concerned about it. So
I
let's
mean,
hit. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I can only handle so much. I mean, I don't think I can handle Ukraine and Budweiser in the same
I know.
day.
I know. Just
Like,
Budweiser sales dropped a ton last weekend. Bud
I
Light.
mean, well, seriously. And then this, I think his name is Dylan Mulvaney,
Yeah.
the 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 boy who wants to be a girl,
Yeah.
who is giving everybody a bad name. I mean, 365 days of being a girl. He has no fucking clue what a girl is. None whatsoever fucking ever. No man has a clue of what a woman is because they're not a woman, they're a man.
And we're going to
And
get into
I
some.
heard that he even has contracts with Nike and get this, Tampax.
Yeah. Also, he is the sports bra spokesman for Nike.
Well, guess who else's bottom line is going to drop drastically?
Well, yeah, a lot of female athletes are now like saying they're going to go to Under Armour or whoever. And yeah, like the guy has no tits. How in the world are you wearing a sports bra?
Exactly.
But speaking of manly stuff, we're going to get into. I'm going to ask you some questions on like manliness because all of
Okay.
us guys we have our own opinion about manliness. But like, what's a
Okay.
woman's opinion of manliness? So we're going to go down the bracket and one thing versus another. And folks, if you're just now tuning in or listening, you want to stick around because at the end we're going to go over the music that we would play to death row inmates.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
it's a sick show today, folks. So anyway, so let's. I'm going to jump into this real quick, Sheree. I'm going to. There's I saw a bracket put up by Barstool Sports, and it was a bracket called the manliest things. And if you had to choose
Okay.
between one thing or another, which is more manly? Okay, so which is more manly?
Okay.
Drinking hard liquor or wearing underwear with holes?
Wearing underwear with holes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Which is more manly, winning a fight you didn't start or doing house and yard work?
Winning a fight you didn't start.
Okay.
I'm an Aries. I love battle.
So so if World War III breaks out, we're putting you in the front. All
Fuck
right.
yes.
Here's another one. This is a good one. Which is more manly, eating rare meat or having good facial hair?
Having good facial hair.
Okay. Carrying all the groceries or manning the grill?
Oh, carrying the groceries.
Really? Okay. All right. All right. Here's another one. Being like Al Bundy and grunting when you sit down or having a deep voice.
Having a deep voice.
All right. And last one here for you. All right. Which is more manly? Pretending not to know the names of famous people or not giving a shit about your health?
Oh,
That's a tough one.
I don't know. I mean, which is more manly? Not which
Yeah.
is more probably not giving a shit about your health. It may be manly, but it's stupid.
Yeah, I thought that too. I thought that's more manly because if you pretend not to know the names of famous people, you're just being full of shit.
Yeah.
That's not really anybody can pull that off. So you're saying the good facial hair and a deep voice. So if I sound like Darth Vader and have like Tom Selleck's mustache, is that the kind of guy that are just irresistible to ladies?
No, I didn't. I don't equate being more manly with irresistible to ladies
Okay.
because I love nerds.
Oh shit! I'm
But
dropping things over here.
I mean, maybe I'm thinking it from, I don't know. It's just, yes, there are some things that I may think are more manly that other women may go, hell no, that's not more manly. But I guess it just depends. But a deep voice, oh fuck yes. I love deep voices.
So if you walk into a room, it's a library with a nice big roaring fire, and sitting in that Queen Anne leather chair is Darth Vader reading Walt Whitman. Yeah, you're into that. That's what you're saying.
Yes,
All
actually.
right. He's got that deep voice. Maybe you just paint that mustache on the outside of his mask. I
Well,
don't know.
well, who wouldn't like a man that can strangle someone without touching them and read you poetry at the same time?
Some women would find that incredibly hot.
Yes.
You know what? I'm surprised. Like, when in Star Wars, when Kylo Ren took his mask off for the first time, and you saw how like thick his hair was, long his hair was. Man, if he would have had like some Wolverine mutton chops, that would have just been badass. That was a missed opportunity, if you ask me.
It was a missed opportunity, but I don't find him attractive. So,
Kylo Ren,
eh.
not a fair. Well, he doesn't have the deep
Oh,
voice.
hell no.
No deep voice. Of course
Mm,
not.
no, I mean, he has one of those, I don't know what you would call it, like a Play-Doh face. It's just so bland and plain.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I need someone with character. Give him a scar. Well, he did have a scar
Yeah. She gave him one.
after that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. He got a scar, all right. So maybe in the
but it
second
was
one
a
he
less
looked a little
manly
better.
scar because Ray gave it to him.
Oh, man, she wolfed out on him. So we're going to be talking about. I don't know. She's one of my new favorite authors, Darcy Coates.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
So
One of mine too.
you actually turned me on to this book series, and the first book was called The Whispering Dead. So let's talk a little bit about Darcy Coates and spoil the series for people so far. And
Okay.
first of all, for people who don't know who Darcy Coates is, I guess just tell them a little bit about her.
Oh, I actually, it's kind of funny. I don't know that much about her. I don't know. I think she's English. She may be English. I'm not sure. But she writes almost horror novels in a gothic style with mystery thrown into it.
Yeah,
It's really interesting. I think I actually got into her after I watched that horrible ass movie, Crimson Peak.
yeah, that was bad. I didn't like that either.
Yeah, and I was thinking about seeing if the book was any better because usually I read the book before I watch the movie, but this time it was the other way around. And as I was looking at that book, I believe on Audible, I came across Darcy Coates. The first one I came across was The Carrow Haunt, which is almost it's not it's a gothic atmosphere, but it takes place in modern time.
Uh,
It's a ghost story. And I thought, oh, cool. Okay, I'm gonna spend a credit and listen to that. And from there it kind of snowballed. She does a series. Literally, I thought it was a zombie series. It's called Dark. It's a what is the series name? Dark Winter. It's like voices in the snow, whispers in the mist. Um, I am sorry to everyone. I lost all of my notes, so I'm kind of doing this on the fly. Um, I thought it was about zombies. Well, spoilers, it's about people changing into monsters.
God, I
And
gotta tell you,
it is the freakiest four-book series. I absolutely love it. I've read it twice. I've listened to it at least four times.
it says
It
here. I
is
just pulled up this thing on one something. I don't know, fandom.com. Darcy is a USA Today best-selling author of Hunted, The Haunting of Ashburn House, Craven Manor, and more than a dozen horror and suspense titles. She lives on the central coast of Australia with her family, cats, and a garden full of herbs and vegetables. She loves
awesome.
forests, especially old growth forests where the trees dwarf anyone who steps between them. Wherever she lives, she tries to have a mountain range close by. There's a lot of she has written a lot of books.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
the first one that I think you had gotten me as a gift was The Haunting of Lee Harker, and it was on Audible. And
Oh,
for the
yes.
longest time, I thought I'd downloaded it. Every time I tried to open up the file, it wouldn't play on my computer. I'm like, well, why the hell is this not playing? Well, I had to go to audible.com. I had no idea. So finally I figured it out. And
Yeah.
I'm listening to that one now. And that one really wasted no time getting into it. But you told me about a book called was it The Whispering Dead? It
Um,
was the first of the
oh,
series.
that's right. The Whispering Dead is in her Gravekeeper series. Yes.
Yes. So there's three books in that one. There's one more to come. And
Hmm.
so I've read those three, not at nearly the pace you did, but I read pretty fast for me. Because once you start reading some of her books, they're hard to put down. Another one that she had put out was called From Below.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, you want to give people just like a little synopsis of that one?
Sure. I'll do it from memory. A team of divers who are putting on a documentary find a lost ship that went down in, I believe it's the late 1800s, the early 1900s. They find it in this part of the sea where nothing lives. It's like very strange. And I actually had to look this up to see if it was true. There are parts of the sea, I suppose, where oceans meet, where the salt content is so high and the water is so cold, nothing lives.
Yeah, the
Nothing.
oxygen
No,
content is so piss poor that nothing can even, no fish can even.
ex- exactly. No bacteria, absolutely nothing. Anything that falls into it usually is like preserved. So these, someone that you will find out if you read the book, someone sabotages their little mini kind of remote sub things. So they go all the way down to this ship and it is far down. They have to make stops because of what is that, nitrogen in their blood or something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
They have to make all these stops and they finally hit this ship underwater and they go in. And the place is, it's not perfectly preserved, like, water wallpaper gets waterlogged, blah blah blah. And they start finding, well, the first thing they found was a body, and it was perfectly preserved. Well, they go back up to the surface because they have to. They come back down, and then all hell starts to break loose.
yeah.
And these, I don't even know if you can call them people anymore. I don't know what the hell you call them, but they start moving and they start coming after them. And
Yeah.
they're trapped like so far down underneath the water. And these people things, I mean, there's, I will spoil this. There is one dude with the top of his head fucking sheared off and he's
Yeah.
still moving.
Yeah.
And they come out of like cracks and holes in the wall. And it's just so freakish. And they have to survive and get out of there.
Now the thing with this book, it was because this was kind of like a luxury liner before the Titanic, right?
Yes,
So when they're swimming through a ballroom. Now the thing when they're down there swimming is if they make too much movement, the sediment kicks up and it blinds them because they can't see, and they have to
exactly.
have a line to find their way back out. And
And the
somehow,
line has been cut.
yeah. So it's and you're wondering like, okay, so all these dead bodies that are down there preserved, but when they first start swimming around, they were going into the rooms. They're like, there's no bodies here. Where's everybody at? Now, the
Right.
interesting thing about the way Darcy Coates wrote this book, now this is from somebody who's written quite a few myself. The masterful thing that she has done is that you tell the story in the real time where the divers are at and what's going on with them. But then the next segment of the book, you might be going back in time to see what happened to those people on that boat, why it went down, where the bodies went, the things that it was almost like the shining on at sea.
Oh, yes,
Everybody's starting to go a little
absolutely.
mad, and they're hearing things, these peckings from the walls, like it was almost a haunted ghost ship, but you can't see anything. So
Well,
yeah,
that's a pretty perfect analogy. I mean, The Shining in
Yeah,
Except with The Shining, The Shining, it was, I don't know if it was in Torrance's head or what, but they are real bodies down there.
yeah. And so yeah, so it's like yeah, The Shining, but like real, people trying to kill you. Um,
Yeah.
and the thing
I mean,
was with this book, I think I'd mentioned this to you when I was reading this. I got like I was getting claustrophobic in the process of reading this book. So
and
the fact that
cold.
I had such yeah cold and like the fact that you can read this book and have such a visceral response, that to me is like mastercraft from a writer. That
Absolutely.
and I mean, so at that point, I'm reading From Below, and I'm like, okay, this is the female version of Stephen King, but the difference is she's not dropping f bombs every other word like Stephen King feels the need to do. You know,
Exactly. And another great thing she does in her books that I absolutely love, she glosses over sex scenes.
she doesn't waste language either. You notice? Did you notice
No,
that? Like, even in the books,
absolutely not.
the Whispering Dead, and then I forgot the name of the next one, then the Twisted Dead. Even in those, she gets to the point and makes it like such an entertaining read. It does get a little tense at times, but yeah, she doesn't waste language. Doesn't I mean, just like if there's any kind of needed sex scene, she glosses over. She's not, writing like, you know, light porn. Thank God.
Oh
Um,
God, no.
so that to me ruins the story.
Well, I don't think it has a place.
Yeah, and really, I mean, unless there's a specific purpose for that action, there's really no reason to have that action in a book or a movie.
Exactly. No, I mean she's very masterful. And From Below, I swear, I you could in your head you imagine yourself all the way down in those damn corridors in that murky ass water with the silt coming up, and you're cold, and it is extremely frightening to even read.
Yeah, that was a tough one to put down, but it was tough in a way to put down because I wanted to see what happened next, but it was easy to put down because I was feeling claustrophobic and I needed a break.
Oh God,
Like
yes.
that's what that book did. So if you love horror and you're listening to this, and you love horror. Uh, From Below by Darcy Coates is a great starting book.
Yeah, and read it first, don't go straight to Audible, read it.
Yeah, there's something about like I noticed. Yeah, Audible I guess has its place for certain kinds of books, but to read a book like that, you need to connect in your mind with it in a way instead of just listening to it in the background.
Yeah,
It
just
was good.
don't listen to it. And I listen to a lot of audiobooks too, and I will actually work while I listen to it or shop. So you don't do that with this book. Actually, take time, sit down and read it to get the full scope of what's going on. Her world building is just awesome. It really is.
Yeah, and so she's quickly become one of my favorite writers. Now,
Oh yeah.
with the Whispering Dead, there's some very lovable characters in this particular. So
Who's your favorite character besides Kira?
um Zoe. I
Yeah,
don't
me
think
too.
like she's sort of like that glue because you knew Mason would still always be there for Kira. Harry's just weird. Adage, he has his place. He's not really in the stories themselves. He's just kind of like supporting character, in some scenes.
Right.
But Zoe is such an eclectic, funny, sarcastic, curious person, an odd bird that's just like lovable.
Oh, wait. We should tell people what it's about. Go for it.
Yeah, so here's what happens in the Whispering Dead. There's this girl who she doesn't know her name. She's running from these people. She doesn't know why she's running. She's in this small little British town, and I forgot the name of the town, but it sounds like a cute little place, right?
It's tiny.
Like a tiny town with like one street with some shops there, and then that's it. And so she's running, and then like I guess she's just exhausted. She hides in this cemetery, and these
Hmm.
people they can't find her, so they move on, and she's watching as they leave. But the thing is, she's got insomnia. She has no idea who she is, or what she's running from, or why she's running from them. She just knows she's in danger. She's hurt already, and so anyway, the guy who the priest who lives next door to the cemetery, I guess he oversees it. And the last person who was the groundskeeper no longer there. I guess he passed away or something. So they all decide they're going to call her Kira. So she meets these other little characters in town. Mason is a guy who comes back from he's from medical school, but he didn't finish. But he's kind of like he'll help people around town if they have like little medical issues, like some little things he can do. And
Hmm.
so people always call him for advice because he's like their brightest star in town, right? Zoe is this eclectic girl who works at the grocery store, who just is like she's into every conspiracy theory you can imagine. She believes in everything from Loch Ness to Bigfoot to ghosts. And apparently, Kira has second sight. She has this little muscle she can pull in like in her eyes somehow, like look at a different level, and then she's in a cemetery and she sees the spirits there that have not passed on.
Yep.
So Adage, the priest, decides, hey, listen, if you're gonna stick around town, there's this little cottage there. You can stay there. We'll fix it up, clean it up for you. It hasn't been used in a while, and you can try to help these people move on. So that's the backdrop of the story. Meanwhile, she gets into a little bit of trouble with some locals who one wants to see her dead too, actually, and stumbles upon a brand new little friend, little furry friend called Daisy, a cat that I don't know yet if this is like a ghost cat or some supernatural cat or something. There's something
Or
weird with
just
it.
some dwarfy cat. We have
Yeah.
no idea.
It eats, it sleeps, and somehow it seems to show up when it's needed most. So,
Exactly.
um, but I guess the backdrop of the story is her trying to help the people who have passed move on. And sometimes these people have stories and they haven't
And
passed because they need closure.
find out why these people are hunting her.
Exactly. Now you find out a lot more in book three called The Twisted Dead.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Now in the meantime, there's a local I guess she's trying to there's in the first book there's this really angry spirit that somehow has managed to eat other spirits.
Yes.
And she is trying to get rid of that spirit, and she's trying to solve the mystery. It's like a 200-year-old mystery, like from the beginning of the town, really. There was people that were going missing. So one person got blamed for it that apparently wasn't the one who did it, maybe. And so she solves this mystery, but has to. She ends up getting the skull from this goth kid named Harry, who has a goth
I
metal
love
band.
Harry.
Harry isn't phased by anything. He is like he would be like a creepy Glenn Danzig with no anger issues, and you think he would be like relaxed, like he smokes weed all the time, but he doesn't. He's just the most chill guy. He can fall asleep there in the middle of a haunted house and not worry about
Yeah,
it.
exactly. And he works in his mother's flower shop.
Mm-hmm. And he's the lead singer of a death metal band. Yeah,
Oh, yes. They sold out their albums, all two of them
yeah.
went to his mother.
I think Zoe bought the other one in the third book, right? So she there
I
was
think so, actually.
uh yeah, that was so funny. But so Kira has a sense of she's got a purpose now of helping the dead move on, but trying to find out their stories. So she's kind of like a supernatural sleuth, right? So she's
Yeah.
and Zoe is helping her, Mason is helping her,
Yep.
and she there's a local guy in the first book, a doctor's son who tries to kill her actually, because then she just like, kicks his ass. Right? So Kira's like, who am I? Why do I know like why do I know how all this self defense? Why do I
Yeah.
know how to survive on my own in the woods? Why do I know like what am I? You know.
Hmm.
So she's slowly starting to realize it into the third book that her name isn't Kira at all, and I forgot what her actual real name was.
I
Because
don't remember. I just know her as Kira. I can't remember her real name. what
Well,
that person called her. But the thing is that she finds out that this is some sort of like a weird ass kind of cult that's
yes,
coming after her.
and probably for good reason because in the third book, and this is a bit of a spoiler too. So if you want to get these books and don't want a spoiler, then just hit the
Skip
mute button
ahead.
until yeah, hit the mute button until we get to the death row inmate rock list. Uh, but so yeah, so they come up on the cemetery. She goes actually to help Mason because
Hmm.
the real she found out the reason he left. The mystery of why he left med school surfaced. And he had a lot of guilt about things. One of his closest rivals and friends was murdered on campus, and he thought he might have heard something and didn't stop to help, and then went
Because
on to
yeah,
class.
he was late for a class and
Turned out it was his friend that was murdered. Yeah.
yes,
So he wanted to go to the spot where it happened to see if the guy's spirit was still there, so she could help him move along. And if it wasn't
yes,
there, he just needed to know. Like this is killing his conscience. So they go there. But on the way back, they stop and get a hotel. And it comes to find out there's this cemetery nearby. Well, they were to find this guy's grave, actually, where he's buried. So to
yes,
see if it was there. And it was there where that cult actually owns the cemetery. She recognized the van, the symbol on the van, and the name of it. And they recognize her when they see her. So now the chase is on. They're trying to get the hell out of there, but not before she can come back at night. And they first of all have to get their car because the three of them escape on foot. And for some reason, she knows the underground tunnels around there through the sewers. Wow.
yes, she does.
So, and she doesn't know why. She doesn't know why when they're in the hotel room that they escape up into the ceiling because they realize that the lady at the hotel ratted them out to the people at the cemetery. So for some reason, she knew she had like a bag in the ceiling. When you got up through
Hmm.
the and were hiding up there, that she had put a like some sort of survival bag. She's like, how do I know this was here? Why do I know I've been in this room and all this? But anyway, they escape and then they get the car, and she actually gets zapped by electricity when she goes back. She's trying to find a way to release all the people because what the people in the cemetery are doing, they found a way to harness energy by trapping the spirits of the dead and feeding off of them,
Yes,
which is like purgatory. You're trapping people in purgatory. So, and she is doing the exact opposite, releasing people from purgatory. So, maybe they used her to figure out how to trap them. She does. She thinks maybe they did that. So we're waiting on the next book.
yes, we're waiting on the next book that probably won't be till next year.
I know, and that pisses me off. I don't want to wait, but
Well, you can only write so quickly.
I know that very well. Yeah. So, so anyway, it's a great. So if you're looking for a fun read, a great adventure with because this series is not as haunting. I don't want to say as From Below or
Right.
The Haunting of Lee Harker, but this is it's a fun series, fun characters with kind of a macabre story. So definitely go pick up Whispering Dead. And then the third one's called The Twisted Dead. I forgot what the second one was called. Um, Ravenous Dead.
Ravenous Dead, yes.
Yes. And there's a scene at the end where after she got zapped with electricity and they got out of that cemetery, she made them stop at this guy's house who like this mansion, this old dilapidated mansion. This guy actually came to her to ask for help because his family that started the town, apparently the ghost of every one of them is there. They're
Everyone.
feeding off of him. It's literally
Ugh.
feeding off of him. So she can see with her eye like somebody latched onto his neck and biting into his neck and feeding off his energy, which is why this guy looks like he's 30 years older than what he is.
Yes.
And but he can't see it. He just feels exhausted, run down, and depressed all the time, and sometimes angry. So anyway, she goes through there with all this electricity and just like starts reaching into their souls and grabbing this little tether near their heart and pulling, and it's like boom, they're gone, whether they like it or not. So
Oh,
she's
she
moving
cleans
them.
house.
Yeah, so it's a fun. I don't know. It's like Scooby Doo and the gang going into the mansion at the end while she's out there kicking ass and fighting with ghosts. they're in there having tea and playing cards, and hey, you need any help? And she's going from room to room, things breaking. No, I got it. It's so it's so funny. It's funny, but it's like, man, these ghosts are freaking mean. Like,
Oh
but
God, yes.
I mean, these are some bad. Like, I wouldn't want anything to, I wouldn't want to be in a house like that. No way. But anyway, but it's a good series. It's I mean, that's one I recommend her stuff to anybody. It's well
Oh
written,
yes.
well crafted, and she has like found her groove in what she's writing, and just killing it. It's good stuff.
Oh yeah. I mean, I would really start with that series, and then I would go to like From Below, The Hunted, Gallows Hill. That was a
Gallows.
freaky book.
That was really good. I just finished that one this year too. So
Yes.
my goal is to read 40 books this year. I'm up to 13 now, or 14.
Oh,
So
cool.
I'm
Oh,
on pace.
she has a new one coming out this year called I think it's called Dead Winter.
Yeah, that's right.
And that one's it's not going to be a ghost story. It's people trapped in a cabin, and one of them is a serial killer, and the main character has to find out which one it is before they kill everyone.
Wild.
Just
Just wild.
completely wild. I mean, she really does have a really good scope of books.
Yeah.
I mean, she can surpass different genres, and she makes them very fluid, and she mixes them together very well.
Yeah, she does. So yeah, Darcy Coates, make sure you go pick up something on Amazon if you're at a bookstore. Yeah, definitely if you're at a bookstore, go buy from local. But
Oh,
yeah, this is good
absolutely.
stuff. This is good stuff. Hey, let's get into the macabre portion of today's episode. If you were,
Okay.
let's just say you're the warden at a prison, and there's some bad mamma jammas in here, right? There's some bad motor scooters, and you got a bunch of them on death row. Now, every day you could just piss them off. You can pick your own playlist. I mean, I'd go in there one day and play something like Puberty Love, something that's like drive them mad, Cotton Eye Joe, just anything like get these people rattling cages. But let's stick with a theme though. These people are on death row. They're gonna die. They're in prison. What songs is on what makes your playlist on this, Shuri?
Oh my God. Creeping Death by Metallica.
Oh, good one.
For Whom the Bell Tolls by Metallica.
Another good one.
Oh, let me think. I had a really good one. Oh God. Let's see. I Shot the Sheriff.
Yeah. Bob Marley and the Wailers. Got to do that one.
That's so funny. Um, I was thinking the Bon Jovi song. I think it's "You Give Love a Bad Name" or something like
Yeah.
that. Shot
Shot
through
through
the
the
heart.
heart. You're to blame. That's awesome.
Oh God, the one you had was so good. It was Another One Bites the Dust by Queen.
Yeah. And then I thought of Pat Benatar. Hit me with your best shot. Fire
Oh,
away.
fire
Yeah. So
away.
you're going to the well, yeah, I don't know if they're going to the hang or get shot or like lit up in the chair. I thought about if they're getting lit up in the chair, I would play Shock the Monkey, Peter
Oh,
Gabriel,
that is good.
End of the World as We Know It, REM. Uh,
Bohemian Rhapsody.
yeah, Mama just killed a man. All right, so I mean, Jailhouse Rock is one, right? I mean,
Oh
but
yeah,
here's
I
I
forgot
thought
that
of
one.
I thought about that Sam Cooke classic, Chain Gang. I thought that was interesting. If you really, really want to just break their hearts, play Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers. Uh, but this morning I was thinking about that, and I thought, remember that song "Rusty Cage" by Soundgarden? I thought
Oh wow.
that would be one. The Gallows Pole by Led Zeppelin.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good. Oh, you really thought this out.
Well, here's a couple others I came up with.
Okay.
This is kind of a sad song, "Closing Time" by Semisonic.
You are twisted.
That is twisted. And then of course you can't take somebody down to set them in the chair without Eddie Grant, Electric Avenue. As they're walking, being escorted down the hall in chains, I would be like, yeah, we're going rock down to. Yeah, I would have to. And right when they're putting the straps on them, I would maybe play Green Day's Good Riddance. Hope you had the time of your life.
Oh, oh, that is perfect.
That's cruel. I mean, it's cruel and unusual. But if they're going before a firing squad while everybody's loading their weapons and the guys standing at the wall, chained on the wall or whatever, I would play ACDC Shot Down in Flames.
Oh, that's good.
That would be interesting. Or High
Hell's
Voltage by
Bells.
ACDC. That's another one.
That's a good one. Oh, ACDC has a lot. Hell's Bells.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just yeah, ACDC would be really good for that. You could also play what? Time of Your Life by Green Day.
Yeah, that's yeah, it's called Good Riddance. That's the one I was mentioning.
Oh,
Good
is that
Riddance.
the one?
Yeah, hope
Oh,
you had the
okay.
time of your life. That's a good song. I love that song. But yeah, can you imagine some mean guy who's killed like 30 people crying hearing that song on his way out? It's like, really? Going out like that, are we? Okay. Uh,
Oh, or you could really screw with them and just play polka music all day.
there's that. That's cool and unusual. You thought Electric Avenue was bad.
Oh my,
Hanging. Yeah, but like Led Zeppelin, I thought about that hanging from the gallows pole. That's a good song.
that is.
Um, yeah, that's macabre. That's morbid of us to think about songs we would play to people on their way to death. But I would have to put a playlist together for my own funeral so people know what to play. Yeah, my buddy Matt said if I ever died young, he'd show up at my funeral and he would do his final words. He laid down the boogie and he played that funky music till he died. And
I think mine would be "Fuck You" by CeeLo Green.
yeah, okay. I'd make sure I had some like P Funk All Stars represented there at my funeral. Um, yeah, can't go wrong with Bootsy Collins. Hey, the mothership was landed. Dr. Funkenstein. I'd have a wet bar at the end.
Oh my gosh,
We
that's so
love you,
funny.
we love you, Dr. Funkenstein, because your funk is the best. I can see people with their head bobbing in the aisles. I hope somebody comes in with like a I don't know one of those old fur coats from the '70s everybody used to wear, and a
A
new and a
pimp
cool
coat?
yeah pimp coat and a cane. Man, I hope somebody shows up there and maybe a feather in your cap, something, just something cool. Something
That
that's that's terrible, isn't it?
that's an image. I can tell you that much.
Bury me in that if they don't cremate me. I keep telling everybody if I die, I want to be cremated. They're like, oh no. I'm like, it's my only chance to be smoking hot in life. Do it. I'm not cold. Just trying to save space, man. Take me and spread me out somewhere cool, somewhere I want to be. Ballpark, maybe. I don't know. Center field. I could be like that. I could haunt it. I could haunt the place. Take me to Cincinnati and drop me off at center field. And every time the Cardinals are in town, I'm going to be active. I'll be talking in their ears out in the outfield. You suck.
You suck.
Yeah. You worship the devil. I've heard about that. They would hate me. They'd be afraid to come back to town. It's like, man, that stadium's haunted. Yeah, it is. Better believe it. Or I would scream, I got it, right when they're about to catch a fly ball and they move. That's
Oh God.
yeah, I would probably get them in trouble too. I would say something to the umpire and make them think the player said it, get them kicked out of the game. I'd go total Bull Durham on them. I'd use the sea sucker word. Duck sucker. Like that's the word to get you thrown out of a baseball game. You don't call them that. Call them anything else. Call them that, you get thrown out.
Oh, that's funny.
It is funny. It's a good life, Cherie. And
Yeah.
It's good, but thank you for coming on to the show today. I appreciate that. We got a chance to talk about Darcy Coates. We've been teasing this for a while, so we finally got it.
Finally.
All right, we'll
Yeah,
talk.
it's been a long time. It's either one or you or I. We just couldn't make it work.
But we did
And
today.
waiting for your ass to finish a book.
Took me a while. I'm not saying I'm the fastest reader. I'm just fast for me.
Well, I do finish books pretty quickly. That's how I can get through so many per year.
Is that why they crowned you Miss Queen of Audible last year? That was
I
impressive.
might it might be. I swear I'm if I do not have a Kindle in my hand, I'm listening to an audiobook constantly. I
I
don't
don't
watch
blame you.
TV and I barely watch movies. So, oh, I did end up watching the Evil Dead 2 movie.
Yeah, what'd you think?
I laughed my ass off the whole way through it.
Wasn't it wild when all the little like the heads that were on the walls of like the deer and the all these other the lamp starts
The
laughing.
lamps laughing. Yeah.
And then when that happened, I was like, that is the weirdest thing. Like it was such a twist from Evil Dead 1, because now you just knew they were trying to have fun with it.
Okay, I never saw the first Evil Dead.
Actually, that one made me nervous. No, they did a remake of it, which actually they did it. It was different. It was really visceral. The remake was.
Oh.
Um, but the first one you should see because that's how he became alone in the cabin. Like that tells the backstory of like all these friends, and then how they got possessed by whatever's out in the woods that they unleashed out of that codex they found. But that was
Okay.
wild. And so but there was tons of blood, and they were trying to be really scary, but like with so much blood overblown, like you knew they were kind of having fun. The second one they had a lot more fun with, you could tell, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
why like Army of Darkness, you could see the humor where the humor came from.
Oh yeah.
It was a succession, and so it was good. It's good, good series. They're
Yeah.
actually doing another Evil Dead one. Saw the ad for the preview for, and it looks. I don't know if I'm going to see it or not. Because it looks like it's kind of like they want to make it kind of like the remake, but it's just a continuation of another story. Like this family, their mother's possessed or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and now it's trying to get into all of them, include the little girl and all that. So it's really weird. But I don't know. There's probably some Evil Dead fans listening to this because I know there's a lot of horror fans that listen. So, but anyway, Cherie, thanks for doing this again. We'll have to come back again and we'll do another morbid list of I don't know.
I had fun.
Yeah, we'll do a list of like our own funeral songs or something morbid. But anyway, yeah, and that's what manliness is, folks. If you sound like Darth Vader and have a mustache, flaunt it, fellas. Thanks again, everybody, for listening to the Gonzo Chronicles. Make sure you hit subscribe, and then there's a YouTube page. Go over and subscribe to that sucker too. And if you want to be nice, you can actually look me up on Amazon right after you look up Darcy Coates and pick up one of mine. And anyway, thanks again, Cherie. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.